Hello, thanks for watching Art Time with Anderson, and we're going to talk about how to create a high contrast black and white portrait that we can then turn into a stamp, and then a little bit like what we can do with that stamp. So we're kind of looking for maybe this effect where they call it the double color exposure. And you can see for this, you want to actually have different iterations or different images so that you can come in and eventually create something like this. This one has the background in it, but we don't actually want to do that. We want to edit out the background. So let's see what we can do with just using the quick selection tool. Take your time in your selection, as always. It's a good time to use your refine edge tool. And this selection tool I have really big right now. And it'll be a little bit of a challenge because I definitely want to get her jacket out of there. So if I just keep kind of adjusting the size of it, then I can get what I'm going for. There's the bell. It wouldn't be a good video without the bell. So just coming in here. Okay. Might have to just come in there with a pen tool and edit that out, or maybe I'll just leave it. So now I'm going to go to select and mask, and I'm actually going to smooth that out a little and feather that out a little. And I like the way those edges are looking. I'm just going to add a little bit right there. Actually, I'm going to subtract. So what I have right now selected is actually the outside of this. Zoom in a little. Okay, that's looking better. Okay, so at the very least I have some nice smooth edges. I'm going to click OK. All right, and I'm going to turn this into a regular layer so it's not a background layer, and I'm going to hit delete, and there we have it. So at least I have these edges. It may not be the most perfect selection, but at least I have these like softer edges where it's not those hard little pixelated looks. Now I'm going to go to layer, new adjustment layer, and I'm going to come into black and white, click OK, and that kind of made her face super pale. I'm going to see what I can do with bringing down the reds, and then we have that nice like red lipstick look, and I'm going to bring up the yellows a little. I like that. This image was already adjusted for contrast in Lightroom, but I can come in and I can play around with levels. Whoops, image layer, new adjustment layer, levels, and I can just see what I think of taking the darks down. This is how you take something from a lighter, lower contrast, that kind of like a flat image, to a higher contrast. So maybe I'll lighten it up a little bit, but then just really get those, make sure that I get those darks in there. So this is going to work well with a stamp. So I'm going to go to select all, and I bet you anything it won't let me define the brush because Photoshop really wants you to flatten your layer first. So I go to layer. You can do either one, merge visible or flatten. Okay. Now edit. Now part of the reason this image might be too big because it's one of my original captures, and you know what? Quite frankly, I probably don't want my brush to be this big because I kind of want to use it as a stamp. So even if I pump it down to that, it's let's pump it down to like a 5x7. I think we can handle that size. Okay. So let's do select all, edit, define brush preset, and I'll call this field trip because it's from a field trip that we took. And now here it is. Okay, so now I have this brush, and I can go ahead and play with this brush and maybe pop in some color on the background. And the difference is here that I can now use B for brush tool. It's stuck on the color picker. Oh, that's why. So now I can now use this as a brush. But every time I do that, I do want to do a new layer so that then I can put this layer up here. Well, maybe I want to duplicate that layer and make it a little darker. Maybe I don't. I actually don't care for that. And now I'm going to do the red, and maybe the red, I'm going to make it like a little bit, actually the red I think I'll make here, and I'm going to kind of make it medium sized and sort of right there. So there's just a little bit of overlap. And I'm going to go ahead and flip-flop those, and now I'm going to go for like that nice turquoisey color. So we have the CMYK Feel primary colors. There we go. I like that one. Let's make it a little. Okay, and I'm going to make this one nice and big, making it so that the eyes kind of come right over the yellow. Whoops. Okay, and there we go. So I didn't follow my rule and I didn't make a new layer, so let's say that I do this time. Okay, so now that I have this, so now if I keep that on that separate layer, I can actually now move this one around and see where I like it. And then I can even put layer masks on these, but I actually kind of like the yellow coming through like that, and we can see in the other face peeking through like that. So this is something fun that you guys can do with your brushes. You do need to create that black and white high contrast portrait first, and yeah, I want to see you play with this a little bit. Thanks for watching.